Join the Commercial UAV Expo Americas Live as they bring the industry back together on September 7th to the 9th at the Mirage Hotel in Las Vegas. For more information, go to expouav.com.
We talked with one guy in the north of Russia, and he so believed in that idea. He said, okay, guys, come to my place, come to my airport. There is no regulation. I am the one of the men here, so I can give you all the improvements. Just fly at my airport, please.
You're listening to the Drone Radio Show podcast, the show about drones and the people who use them for business, fun, and research. Hosted by Randy Goers.
Hello, everyone. This is Randy Goers, and welcome to the Drone Radio Show podcast, episode 332. Can a drone help to speed up the flight check of landing systems at airports? For that question, we head to Chelaybinsk, Russia, to talk with Vitaly Munirov, CEO of Cursir, a Russian-based company that produces innovative drone-based solutions for flight inspections of navigation and landing systems. The company uses UAVs to calibrate, check, and configure navigation aids at airports, resulting in huge cost savings to air traffic management organizations. Cursir was founded in 2015 as a spin-off project of Russian landing and navigation systems manufacturer RTS Union. Vitaly has 14 years of experience in the aviation industry. Prior to leading Cursir, Vitaly spent several years in the research and development department. In this edition of the Drone Radio Show, Vitaly talks about Cursir, its innovative flight inspection system, and how it will transform air management operations. Joining Vitaly in this episode will be Lena Nimchenko and Alexander Shuskov, both part of the Cursir team. But before we hear from Vitaly, I want to thank those of you who are supporting my funding campaign. Whether it's $1, $100, or much more, you can help defray the cost of production and keep the podcast going and growing. Go to droneradioshow.com/donate. And by the way, if you have a great idea for the use of drones that you'd like to share in a podcast, contact me at randy@droneradioshow.com. So let's find out how drones can help speed up the flight check of landing systems at airports with Vitaly Munirov of Cursir. Let's pick up the interview where I asked Vitaly to introduce himself.
My name is Vitaly. I am a CEO and founder of company Cursir. Today with me is Lena and Alexander. They are business development department. So together we push forward our startup in the world market.
Yeah, my name is Lena, and I will be the translator for Vitaly.
Yeah, hi, my name is Alexander. I work with customers, with government agencies, accelerators.
Vitaly, tell us about the company. What does Cursir do?
Our company main focus is using drones for radio measurements. And the first field where we use such solution, it's flying, calibrating, and measures all navigation aids that installed in airport. So the main focus is measuring landing and navigation systems that are working in the airport.
Just so I have it clear, you're talking about the systems that airports use to track and monitor airplanes and airspace.
Yeah, correct. All the airports have landing systems that help to airplane, to the pilot land in bad weather condition, to navigate aircraft in the air to the airport. So each of these systems transmit radio signals in the air. And so we measure the signals, checking that the systems that installed on the ground are working properly. The radio field is working correctly, and all the signals is proper to make sure that the aircraft can land safety and all the passengers, so improve safety of the airport.
How old is the company?
We are a young company. We 5 years old.
And where are you based?
We are based in Russia. We have two offices, one in Moscow and one in the middle of Russia, the city Chelaybinsk. Maybe you heard about us, about the news of asteroid that fell on Russia 8 years ago.
The Ural region.
Yeah.
How are drones used to measure navigation systems?
Nowadays, all that the measurements are made by using manned aircraft with the pilot, with a huge measuring equipment installed on this aircraft. So we do the same thing, but we use drone instead of huge aircraft. We use small size drone and install there our small and compact radio measurement equipment and measure the signals.
Like Vitaly said earlier, every airport is obligated to check these systems once a year. And now they are doing it by aircraft, big specialized laboratory aircraft, which have a lot of different receivers on its board. And it's a very specialized work. And there is usually only one company in the country which is doing it, and a lot of airports. So you are obligated to do it once a year, but it's very expensive. It has a very tough schedule and so on. But sometimes you need to check these aids not just once a year, but a bit more often. Like you have something occurred, or you have a message from pilot who said that something is wrong and the radio field is not operating correctly, and so on. And you want to check it and to calibrate your radio aid. And you can't use the specialized aircraft because it's really, really, really expensive and it's very hard to get to them. So you usually have an in-house vehicle with a stick on it, with the receiver on the top. It's just like a few meters above the ground. And you want to check the radio picture from the aircraft. And of course, you can do that. But if you have a seashore airport, for example, you can't do that. Or a lot of terrain difficulties and so on. So we suggest to use drones like this in-house solution for the first step. Like the technology of drone can replace aircraft, like the specialized one. But the regulations are are stuck in the 80s and are not so fast developing and so on. So we decided to start with small in-house solution.
How accurate is your system compared to the systems that are used by airplanes?
Oh, that's a great question. So the main question from our Civil Aviation Authority, our receiver is passed. In Russia, we have special organization that certifies our receiver as compliant to very hard ICAO requirements up to Cat 3 of ILS systems. So this is a very complicated requirements. We pass through this certification that we are comply with these requirements. If we're talking about the measurement, we are the same as an aircraft.
I wanted to ask Vitaly to tell the story about our drone being too precise.
Vitaly, do you have a story to tell?
Interesting. Aircraft not flying so precisely, because the pilot, because the aircraft is big, because of the winter, then this aircraft cannot fly very precisely through the road that landing system give to him. So they are flying up and above from the ideal line of landing. But our drone can fly very precisely, and our measurement equipment measure very precisely. And one of the params that we measure, it shows to the engineers how the drone fluctuation in the air are correlated with the measurement. So we're flying so precisely around the zero, so there is no differences. One of the engineers in our flight inspection service provider, they said it's impossible to get results, get the difference. So because you're flying very precisely, please fly like a man. So this is the real story.
So they wanted you to add some movement to the flight?
Yeah. You should fly not so stable. Make some errors in your route. because we cannot understand the differences between measure.
Have you been able to do that? Make it fly more human?
Yeah. Yeah, we should add these errors to our autopilot to make man-like flying.
Is the system in operation?
We are now on the way to bring this technology in operation. We are in trials with the Russian Civil Aviation Authority, air navigation service provider in Russia. And we have special working group, and our Civil Aviation Authority and air navigation service provider give us 2 airports, one in our city in Chelaybinsk and one in Kurgan. So we are flying there almost each week, almost each day. Right now we are July and August. We fly almost all the days through these 2 months. And we collect all the data, all the measurements, and send it to our Civil Aviation Authority. After that, they compare our results and aircraft results, and they will decide how to figure out this solution in the future and what this solution can implement it, how can implement it in the real field in life.
Is the hope that UAVs will replace the need for the large airplanes, or to give airport operators more flexibility?
For now, the regulation is so tough, so the drone cannot use legal in this field. But the worldwide is moving to this way, and several countries are starting some research in that field to implement drone and how to use it. And for now, we just argument system because of the regulation. But when we talked with our Civil Aviation Authority, they said, okay, let's make trials and we will see how to change regulation, in what way we should go, what work we should give to drones and what work we should give to the airplane.
In addition to the cost and time savings, there's also an eco-benefit of using the Cursir system. Can you speak to that?
It's important. We are reduced CO2 emission because we are using batteries drone, not use gasoline. So we're zero emission. There is no emission from our technology.
Looking forward to when the system is ready to be deployed, how do you see the business side of things working?
First of all, we were starting from the trials, and agencies will check every step and every measurement very careful. And after trials, I think they will use several times as a service just to improve some additional requirements. And in the end, I think the drone will completely change the industry of flight inspection because the drone will do maybe in 5 years all of the flight inspections in the airport.
As I see it, we are now in the place where we are trying to prove to the world that we have an innovative solution, a new one, and we need to prove that this is the future, that this is operational, that this will work, and that this is, healthy for the environment because it's electrical, and so on. So the market, at the moment, is struggling. Aviation is very conservative industry, and they are not so happy about changing what they are used to. But now they face some challenges, and they need to overcome them. And we are going to prove to them that we know the challenges, the pains, and we have just what they need to overcome all of it. So it's our work, our role is changing the world, not just business, just sales and so on. It's, it's wider, it's something more global and more important.
Will operators contract with you for a service? Or will they be able to buy the technology and run it themselves?
One of the ways when we provide service, I think it will be several countries around Russia or several countries around our partner. We are working right now to find the right partner in each region that can cover the countries around them. So they will buy service from us or from our partner. And sometimes If the customer want to be more independent, they will buy the product to themselves and use it by themselves. Today we have maybe 100 or more flight inspection service provider around the world. So they will be one of the customers that will buy several drones to get such inspection all over the world. I see the future like that. One more thing about civil aviation authorities around the world, they so conservative because each law that they write down are written by the blood. So this is my previous general director said. So you should always remember this because each rule written by someone blood because of the accidents in the air.
Is there anything special about the drones that you use?
I should say that it's nothing special if we talk about the drone because it's not military drone. It's just a civil drone that commercial able to any of the customer. But the main thing in the software and the receiver, because this is a core technology.
Is there anything about the technology that we haven't covered yet?
Maybe to the listeners, it might be important that our drones fly in special GPS RTK mode, so that give accuracy of flying around centimeters. So it's very precise flying. It's very precise measuring. High-end receivers, but I think it's for the geeks.
Do you have to plan out each mission, or are there predefined flight plans that cover several missions?
Yeah, we have templates for all the missions, but you can adjust because it's always something special in each airport that you should mention in your mission that you should get in accordance when you're trying to measure, because it's very individual. All the airports have their own, like a human, DNA. So we have templates and we have special possibility to make some adjustment.
When you're using the system at an airport, how does it interface with ongoing flight operations? Do operations have to be altered?
Yeah, very good question. Thank you, Randy. So nowadays regulation block flying in the same time drones and the aircraft. So always when we fly in the airport field, we close the airfield. Any aircraft or helicopter or anything. So we pass through 5 days approval in Russia before we fly. So we get approval from our civil aviation authority, from our air navigation service provider. After that, they publish special information that called NOTAM. All aircraft have this information that in this moment, in this location, there is a special work that doing by drone, and the aircraft and the air in this area are closed for flying.
Did you run into any problems or situations while testing the system?
All of the airports are under control of our Federal Security Agency. So we pass through all requirements. We get all the improvements to fly in the airport. But one of the guy inside of security department in the airport doesn't know about us. He just see our drone and called to the police, to analog of FBI in Russia, and they come to our trials and get all the team to their department. And after that, we get several hours and describing them that we're under regulation. We have all improvements. We have all the special letter of support and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure that was a very stressful few hours.
Yeah. Because these guys are very serious.
So let's talk about how the company started. First of all, where did the idea for Cursir come from?
The idea started from my side maybe 8 years ago when I was as an engineer. I'm working in our parent company, NPO RTS, and our parent company manufacture the landing and navigation system. So in that time, I'm working as an engineer, and I came to my CEO and I asked him, listen, it would be great if we can use drones instead of aircraft. And he said, no way, never drones will fly in the airport. Just forget it. But I'm not forget it. And I lived with this idea maybe 2 years. And after the 2 years, I find the resources how to start this R&D project. We pass through several accelerating program, and we get some government support, and we get the residents of innovation center, Skolkovo, maybe if you heard about this. It's like not the whole analog of Silicon Valley in US, but some kind of it. And we start moving.
Over the past several years, what was the greatest challenge that you had to overcome?
I think the main milestone, it was to get support from air navigation service provider and civil aviation authority, because they, at the starting, they was so conservative. They just don't see us as something real that can be done. But we get meeting after 2 years of our work. I think we find the right guy at the right moment from the air navigation service provider. This guy was responsible for all the innovation in the industry. And he said, oh, that's a great idea. Let's try to find something that we can do together. And from that point, we start working with a real customer that interested in our product.
When did you know that the idea would work?
When I really believed that it could be done, it was our first real flight, but we failed on that. But on that flight, I see that the drone can fly, the receiver can measure. It's not ideal, but it worked. It worked very ugly, but it worked. I remember that we talked with one guy in the north of Russia, in some Siberia. It's a city, Noyabrsk name. And one guy, he working in the airport, some of the middle of top management. He so believed in that idea. He said, okay, guys, come to my place, come to my airport. There is no regulation. I am the one of the men here, so I can give you all the improvements. Just fly at my airport, please. And so we get our old stuff, go there, and there is a first flight. And after that, we believe that we can do this.
Having the company as long as you have, how did you maintain your focus? Because 5, 6, 7 years is a long time.
For us, it's more than just a product. It's more about idea, because we are in the front of the changing industry.
What have the past several years taught you about the industry?
One of the greatest things that I learned after these 5 years, it's maybe you know, Moore law. If something can happen, it happens. So if something can go wrong, it go wrong, for sure.
What advice would you give to other entrepreneurs?
I think the main advice is try to find your customer and talk with them. First of all, talk with your customer. Don't think in-house only with your teammates. First of all, talk with the customer.
As for me, Vitaly seems to be like the dreamer type. I think that in this business, like in drone business and in all the innovation around technology and so on, it's like very important to be that guy or to find the guy that can be just the dreamer that, like fits on the emotions that he gets on all the trials and so on, and everything is ruined, but you are so enthusiastic and you are so like in love with the product. I think this emotional side is very important for this kind of business, when you don't have any hope like this will ever work or this will ever be implemented in any airport in the world, but you just believe in what you are doing, and this is what pushes through your business and your ideas and so on. So I think that everybody should take Vitaly as an example.
Vitaly, from your perspective, Is Cursir more of a research company or is it more of a business?
I think we will be in the middle because right now we are in the end of one research product in the field of airport. But after that, we will moving forward because all the cell phone operators, all the TV stations, all the radio things, they need drone measurements in the air because we can give some advantages for the cell phone operators, for the telecommunications companies, for the 5G operators and all that stuff.
So the technology has other applications other than just measuring airport operations.
Yeah, it's just starting point. After that, we will move on different markets.
What's next for Cursir?
Right now, we're in the end of the trials with our Civil Aviation Authority and Air Navigation Service Provider. So after that, we will see how they want to use the technology. First milestone is pass through the trials, get results, and get feedback from the customer. And I think for the end of this year or the beginning of the next year, we will get some orders, some contracts to make this service to our airports. We already get one contract in Russia because there is one airport. They have a tough area around the airport, and they call us and said us, okay, guys, you're not under regulation right now, but we are so stressed about our system. We installed new system. And before we call the aircraft, because 1 hour of flying of this aircraft cost to us maybe $2,000 or $3,000. Can you please come, make your measurements? And if everything is well, we call them. So the real first customer was this airport.
How about interest from other airports in Russia, or for that matter, in other countries?
So if we talk about Russia, all the main players on this market are knowing us, and they just waiting results of trials. And after that, we will move on. It depends on our air navigation service provider, how they will move this forward so that we'll live in that schedule. And if we talk about worldwide, there is several countries that in the front of this implementation of drones, such as Australia. They public tender in this year, in the summer. They call all the companies from the drone industry that make solutions such as we do. And right now, these tender are on the stage that they try to find the right company. And the Spain tender about the same technology was passed in July, and we are waiting results of both of these tenders because we getting all of the tenders that we have for now. So these two countries are working in the official way. They want trials with the drone, and they want to implement this solution after the trials.
Виталь, а мы можем рассказать про вот эту херню с поиском людей?
Yeah. Lina mentioned about we are now in conversation with our partner from Germany, and this product will be focusing on search and rescue operations, and we will help to the search and rescue teams on the ground with the drone. Our drone will have special radio direction finder that can measure the angle of the radio beacon that place it on the ground. So all the aircrafts, all the boats, they have special alarming beacons. When you have a crash or something accident, these beacons start working and transmit the special signal in the air. So right now, for this solution, they use satellite or aircraft, but the satellite delay, it's maybe 1 hour before they find the direction of this radio beacon. And our solution is drone with a special equipment that can give the information about the emergency beacon coordinates.
Is there anything that we missed that we should talk about?
Yeah, one more thing we discussed with the team We want to say hi to Elon Musk and Y Combinator because we are Russian and we are always say hi to Elon Musk.
Hopefully he's listening.
Yeah, I hope to.
And for my final question, Vitaly, what message would you like to leave regarding the drone industry?
I think the drone is the future. It's just the order of the development of our human being all over the world. So maybe after 10 years, we don't even see any man-pilot aircraft or car because robotics will be everywhere. It's just like cell phone for nowadays. And in the air, there will be so much drone that you cannot imagine right now.
As for me, unmanned technology is so inspiring. Like when I'm doing my research and I'm just looking through lots of articles about drones being used in, some really weird applications. And I'm like, wow, could I imagine this like 5 years before the moment? I think no. And what are we going to face in 5 years, in 10 years? It's so fascinating for me. And I don't know, like technology is developing so rapidly and so much is going on. It's really amazing.
That's it for episode 332 of the Drone Radio Show. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Vitaly Munirov, Lena Nemchenko, and Alexander Shuvkov of Cursir. I want to thank Vitaly, Lena, and Alexander for taking the time to speak with me. If you want to learn more about Cursir or want to connect with Vitaly, check out the webpage at cursir.com. If you like the Drone Radio Show, please consider supporting the podcast with a small donation. The content is always free, but for as little as $1, you can help defray the cost of production. To donate, go to droneradioshow.com/donate. And thanks for listening. Your support means a lot to me, and I hope you'll listen to more episodes of the Drone Radio Show podcast to hear how others are using drones for business, fun, and research. For the Drone Radio Show, I'm Randy Goers.
This has been the Drone Radio Show podcast. More information on today's show can be found on our website at www.droneradioshow.com. If you're using drone technology for business, fun, or research and would like to share your experience on the show, please visit our website and fill out a guest appearance application. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media channels.